Okay.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, this is my first one, bear with me. All right, so call this meeting to order. We'll start with approval of minutes for our March meeting. Do we have a motion?
Oh, wait, sorry.
Oh.
Because we have our audit and finance presentation, they have to go first.
Oh, okay.
So we have our audit and finance committee, and we'll just use yours to do the presentation.
All right.
I do not have time to tell you that.
So we're going to do the finance meeting.
Yes, we're gonna do the IDA audit and finance committee meeting, and they'll do the presentation, then we'll adjourn. We do the CRC audit and finance presentation, and then adjourn, and then start the.
Oh, understood. Okay.
Yeah, just to get them, so they don't have to sit through the other meetings.
Audit?
Yeah. I would do
Yeah, gotcha. Hi, everybody. My name is Liam Rowland. I am the audit manager on the account. This is Chris Stevens. He's the audit director. I've been working on the account since, I think, 2021, but this is my first year as manager, so I got a speaking role this year. It's nice to meet a lot of you in person, talk to you on the phone. So you have 4 deliverables in front of you. 2 of them are for the IDA. We've got the report to the board of directors, and then we've got the financial statements. We're going to start with the report to the board of directors. So if you could flip to page 1.
Are we doing this
IDA.
IDA?
Yeah, so for the IDA. So this is separate from our audit opinion. This is basically a report to the board that kind of summarizes what the audit was and our results of the audit. Just to avoid reading through this whole thing, I'll briefly summarize it. You can stop me if you have any questions. It starts with what our responsibilities were. So that's our responsibility is to perform the audit, and we're also required to provide you information about our responsibilities. Those were sent out in a letter on January 9th. Then we kind of get into management's responsibilities, which are for the selection and use of accounting policies. You'll see in the financial statements in Note A that the significant accounting policies of the IDA are listed in detail. The only change to this report from the prior year is that there was a new GASB standard adopted. That's GASB 102, certain risk disclosures. It relates to concentrations and constraints. Doesn't really have any impact on the IDA, but it was adopted, and we are required to disclose that. Skipping down, you'll see we're also required to document our consideration of the IDA's accounting estimates and point out what the significant estimates are. That first bullet is the only significant estimate that we identified, and that's just that the land held for development is based on an appraisal provided by a third-party appraiser. That's still $80,000. You'll see that in the financials. With respect to those estimates, we evaluated the key factors and assumptions used by management to develop those estimates and determined that they're reasonable in relation to the financial statements taken as a whole. We're happy to report that we encountered no difficulties in performing the audit. One thing I did want to highlight under the corrected and uncorrected misstatements, you guys may recall that there was a older cash account that was identified during the year with KeyBank that was returned to the IDA. It's not so much a misstatement, just more so just a clarification on the financial statements. Because that account balance related to a prior period and was interest-bearing, we had to adjust beginning net position from 2023 just because that account balance related to years prior. So you'll see that on the statement. Disagreements with management, we're also happy to report that there were no disagreements with management during the audit. At the conclusion of the audit, we're going to request what's called a representation letter from management. It's basically management signing off on what their responsibilities were for the financial statements and internal controls. That'll be dated as of the date of the report date. This next little blurb here is just kind of boilerplate. It's basically saying that management may decide to consult with other accountants about accounting matters. I'm just going to read this part. If a consultation involves application of accounting principles to the authority's financial statements or determination of the type of auditor's opinions may be expressed in those statements. Our professional standards require the consulting accountant to check with us to determine that the consultant has all the relevant facts. To our knowledge, there were no such consultations with other accountants, meaning there was no opinion shopping. Our discussions with management were not conditioned to our retention as auditors. Basically saying that we can act as consulting capacity. Other matters, just the fact that the MD&A is omitted from the financial statements, it doesn't change our opinion. There's also a schedule of supplementary information that we applied certain audit procedures to. And then also, we're required to review the Paris report. We do not provide an opinion on the Paris report, but we do read it to ensure that it's materially consistent with the financials. And lastly is the restrictions on use, just saying that this information is solely for the board of directors. So this is pretty boilerplate, not a lot of changes from the prior year for this. Then we can kind of get into the financial statements. That's the other deliverable. So if you go to the independent auditor's report, that's starting on page 1. This is our opinion on the financial statements. You'll note that this is a unqualified opinion. In the base for opinion section, that's kind of how we document how we came to our conclusions. It also says that we were independent and we met our ethical responsibilities. The next blurb there is just the responsibility of management of financial statements. Just saying that management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of financials, as well as establishing and maintaining a system of internal control, and evaluating whether there's substantial doubt about the entity's ability to continue as a going concern for a year after the date of the financials. I won't bore you with reading the whole thing, but these are our responsibilities. I'm just going to read the bullet points here. In performing an audit in accordance with GAAP and governmental auditing standards, we exercise professional judgment and professional skepticism. We identify and assess the risk of material misstatement of the financial statements, whether due to fraud or error, and design and perform audit procedures responsive to those risks. Such procedures include examining on a test basis evidence regarding the amounts and disclosures in the financial statements. We also obtain an understanding of internal control relevant to the audit in order to design audit procedures that are appropriate in circumstances, but not for the purpose of expressing an opinion on the authority's internal control. We do not express an opinion on the internal control. We evaluate the appropriateness of accounting policies used and the reasonableness of significant accounting estimates made by management, which we discussed earlier, as well as evaluate the presentation of the financial statements. And finally, we conclude whether, in our judgment, there are conditions or events considered in the aggregate that raise substantial doubt about the authority's ability to continue as a going concern for a reasonable period of time, which is typically 1 year after the report date. Again, that's just the required supplementary information. It's just, again, mention of the omission of the management discussion and analysis. And then also the supplementary information, which we went over, that's the schedule of uses. Other information, just kind of talking about the annual report again. We're just responsible to read it to make sure that it is materially correct. And then finally, this last blurb is about the report at the end. It's required compliance report based on internal control over financial reporting. I'm going to get more into that when we get to the end. All right, so now we have our statements of net position. So now you're on page 4 here. I'm just going to kind of briefly go over what jumps out, what changed year over year. You're going to see cash and cash equivalents increase by about a little under $300,000. That's really just an increase in administrative fees for project closings. I know there was some material closings that I'll talk more about on the next page. And then also the geothermal investigation winding down and decline in expenses due to that, and then that cash account that was returned to the IDA kind of gave a jump to the cash balance. Restricted cash is down It's really just a timing thing. It's usually just a pilot payment received in advance, and the balance of that account is just dependent on how large that pilot payment is. Nothing really jumps out until you get to due to other governments, and really what that was last year is that $125,000 administrative support fee was sitting in accounts payable last year. It was paid in advance this year, which is also, which is leading to the decline in due to other governments. And you'll see that on the next page. As we talked about, administrative fees increased by close to $300,000. A lot of that is due to, it fluctuates year over year. A lot of that's due to project closings. Most specifically, we have Troy Hub LLC and Troy 1818. Those are two of the larger ones that we noted. And then when you get into your operating expenses, not too much change there, except for a decrease in professional fees due, again, to that geothermal winding down. You'll see other expenses decreased by, about $23,000. Last year, there was a $25,000 grant to the Transportation Council. That was not a grant in the current year. That leads to that decline. And you'll see that overall, the change in that position is positive, mostly due to those admin fees and decline in expenses. So statements of cash flows, now we're on page 6. You'll see that operating activities, you are cash flow positive, which is a good thing. Most of that is being driven by that increase in admin fees. And then you'll have the proceeds from interest income that are also driving up cash. You'll see the cash increase by about $250,000. And then at the bottom, that's just a reconciliation of your operating income to the net cash provided by operating activities. Kind of a little informational disclosure for you there. Now we can get into the notes. So that's starting on page 7 and continuing to page 10. Those are the significant accounting policies. These didn't really change too much from the prior year. I would suggest more so just reading through these and having me just read them out loud. But I don't believe there are any changes other than at the top of page 10, you have that GASB 102 that I described earlier. It had no impact on the financials or numbers-wise. It's just, it was adopted, so we have to disclose it, but that's really the only change to Note A from the prior year. Note B will be a change. That's just kind of describing that prior period adjustment that I talked about before. That is basically just summarizing what accounts or what financial statement line items that the return of that cash account impacted. You see the revised. So the previously recorded is what was shown on the 2024 financial statements, and then the revised amount is what shows on the current year financial statements for 2024. So if you were to compare this balance sheet to the issued 2024 balance sheet, it would be different. This is just kind of a summary as to why. Cash equivalents is just another required disclosure, just basically disclosing what the investment policy is, and then also what the uninsured collateralized deposits were at December 31st, 2025. No change to Note D or Note E. And then Note F, the only change is that there were no administrative fees received from the LDC in the current year. So you had one last year and none this year. So now we get into our compliance report. So this is a report on the procedures that we did to test the effectiveness of the internal control financial reporting and as well as compliance. We do not provide an opinion on those matters, but we do document what our consideration was. If you look down under report on internal control for financial reporting, we define what a deficiency is. There are material weaknesses, which are more serious deficiencies that could lead to resilience financials, and then deficiencies, which are kind of a step down. We're happy to report that as a result of our procedures, we didn't identify any deficiencies in the IDA. And then quickly scrolling through to the supplementary information, these are the schedules. The schedule of straight leases. This information matches what is in the CRC report. It basically just documents the amount of total exemption for each project, the original estimate of jobs created, original estimate of jobs to be retained, and then the current full-time employees. And that is basically it for the IDA financials, if anybody has any questions. Any questions?
There's no question. And the board wants to move into turning its hat around and getting a report on the CRC financials. We could have that under the finance review as well.
All right, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I guess with CRC, we don't have to reread the entire report to the board because it's almost exactly the same thing. The only thing I will point out on here is we have a different significant estimate here. So if you look at significant audit matters and then the bullet point, the significant estimate for the CRC is just related to the flexibility of that $215,000 due from the LDC, which is basically the estimate is that when the Kingsville site sale goes through, that will be repaid. The estimate there is that there's no reserve recorded for it, that it's recorded on the balance sheet at the full $215,000. But that's really the only change between this report to the board and the one for the IDA. So we can get right into the financials for the CRC. So page 1 is the audit report again. This one is also an unqualified opinion. Don't really need to go through it. It should be the exact same, so we don't really need to go through it too much, other than we can just skip right to the balance sheet for this one, so that will be page 4. So we're on page 4 here. Not too much going on here. The only difference is just that the only income that's coming in are the admin fees on the RPI bonds, but there are still expenses related to economic development and professional fees and grants. So that's really the only thing here is that cash is down because limited income, but still grant expenses and professional fees. If you go to page 5, see that again. Operating revenue, it's still just at $4,500, so it's just $1,500 per series for the RPI bond. But there are still some economic development and professional fees expenses, which is leading to that operating loss and a negative change in that position. Let's skip to page 6. You won't see much on here that we didn't already talk about. Obviously, there's a negative, it's cash flow negative, but still that $215,000 is on the horizon, as we talked about on the in the estimates. And then if you were to look at the balance sheet as well, you would see that. So you'll see an overall decline in cash. We can now get into the notes. So again here, 7 through 9 are the accounting policies. The only difference here is that I would just call your attention to is the conduit debt obligation. You'll see a summary of the bonds at the bottom of that paragraph. That's really the only difference between the policies of CRC and the IDA. That last sentence is just, it summarizes what the outstanding balance is. And then D should be the same, and then C, obviously the CRC has different related party transactions than the IDA does. The most major of those just being that $215,000 receivable from the Troy LDC that we've talked about a few times now. That's really the most major asset for the CRC. So now, get into the compliance report. Not too much again to go over here. Basically, as the IDA, there were no compliance issues or significant deficiencies identified for the CRC. And then, not sure, is the supplementary information after that for you guys? Then you just have the summary of the bonds here. This is all publicly available, but that's just a summary of that. Any questions on the CRC?
I just want to make sure that I understand what you're saying about internal control. You're saying categorically you would not comment on these types of internal controls.
As a result of our procedures, there were no deficiencies identified over internal controls with CRC or the IDA. We don't express an opinion on it because we don't perform enough procedures to express not an opinion on it, but as a result of our procedures, there was nothing identified worthy of reporting.
Correct.
Yeah.
Do we need a motion to accept?
Yeah, each of the committees, at this point, if they're comfortable and don't have any additional questions, would refer both audits up to the regular board meetings, which will open next.
So that would be a motion from the...
From this committee, yes, that's right.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Cool. Passes, all right, so,
Does that stand for the IDA?
And the CRC, both, yeah,
So I can put it in the minutes for each of them.
that's right.
perfect. So we can move on to, thank you very much. We can move on to the board meeting now.
Open the IDA.
All right, let's open the IDA. All right. All right. First business, approval of minutes from our March 24th meeting. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. All right, on to new business. First one is the annual meeting resolution. Something, do we need to have a discussion here?
Sure. I can provide a kind of a thumbnail sketch of the annual meeting resolution for both the IDA and the CRC. We'll have one for each of the meetings. For purposes of the IDA, the annual meeting resolution is really an annual compliance and audit function. The board each year is required to readopt certain policies, your investment and property disposition policy, approve your mission statement and annual accomplishments. Importantly, and why we have our auditors here, there is a review and acceptance of the annual audit performed by Wojcicki and Company. And as for discussion, as we go through this list of motions, the annual officer election is included here. We are without a chair currently, so there'll be a discussion on that role remaining open with the vice chair, treasurer, and secretary positions decided by the board based upon your consensus. The audit and finance committees and the governance committee are repopulated each year. The audit and finance committee, traditionally, as you just saw, is a committee of the whole. If there's a desire to have the governance committee be populated with a subset, that's a topic of discussion. And then the appointment of staff is revisited each year. We have, for the IDA, a recently designated deputy executive director. Randy is with us, so we can reflect that. Today, historically, has served as the acting secretary for the IDA, and thank goodness. And the project manager position at the IDA level, historically, I think, has been served by Andrew Kreshik at the staff level for the city. He's recently retired, so that position may remain open or undesignated for now until a replacement is found or that staff level position at the city is backfilled. Other than that, it's kind of an omnibus resolution for purposes of moving it and getting a motion and a second, and then voting on it, the discussion on board offices and ratifying staff probably is a good discussion. And if there's any other questions or concerns or notes on the audit that was presented, now is the time too. So, anybody want to be vice chair? I mean, we have one now. If Alex wants to
I'll
keep
doing
sitting
it.
in that, yeah. If the board's comfortable with that, and I'd probably have to be reminded as to who is currently sitting in each of the treasurer and secretary positions. Do you happen to remember?
Treasurer, right?
Treasure,
Doing a great job, Albert.
Who's
yeah. We'll do it.
Stephanie, were you treasurer?
No, I'm defense secretary.
Oh, no, sorry, that's what I meant. Your secretary, Albert treasurer.
Yep.
You guys.
That's fine. Well, there's, I'm just trying terms, times.
The chairman is actually an appointment by the mayor and ratified by the council, as President Sue knows. That is a subject of discussion for the mayor and the council to work through. That position, when it is appointed and confirmed, is a 3-year position that's specific to the chair. So as a board, we don't elect a chair, it's seated as such, so, but as a group, you can determine.
I mean, because I was looking at the Paris report and when we're done, so we have 2026 potential roll-off.
I'm
Oh, you
sorry.
mean board members?
Yeah,
there are several expired terms.
Oh, well, that's up to the council. Folks remain seated until their
So it just
successors.
keep going on?
Right.
Well, then I'll just, you can put me a second.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, I didn't understand the question, so that's a good one. So if you want to maintain status quo on board positions, we can fill those in the resolution. For staff level, we have Randy, we have Danae, and it seems the project manager will hold that open for now, unless and until there's a recommendation for either a staff level or a third party to fill that. Governance committee, Danae, I don't know if you can remind me.
Was it Mike and
Last time we had a meeting,
Stephanie and Albert?
yeah, it was Steve, and that was 3 years ago.
It's been a while,
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
it's really
it's been a while,
policy
yeah.
considerations, yeah, so. If we want to maintain that subset, that makes the most sense. Randy can help convene if, we may have things coming for policy updates.
Joining. I think we only need 3 people, right?
I think that's where it's been sized, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll still do it.
okay, if we have one,
Yeah.
if we have a meeting.
Yeah.
Do for some looking over,
Several.
policies and maybe a little updating, so we might actually meet here as on board every week.
All right, I think that's everything. So do we have a motion to approve this resolution?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed tonight?
Thank you.
All right, moving along, we have an initial project for resolution, that's on, all right. So do I just read this, sorry? I haven't done this before.
Yeah, I can help with that as well.
All
We
right.
have an application that's been submitted and received by Danae from Rodval Leasing. Obviously, everyone knows and is familiar with the Valenti companies based in Troy and in the area. They have acquired the former Uncle Sam garage site and have all planning approvals necessary to proceed with the project. The application, after review, and Randy can step in, is complete, and today is the first bite at the apple, the Kevin O'Brien approach. We have a representative of the applicant here, and if we want to have them present or talk about the project, and then the resolution would serve to accept the application and authorize a hearing once we're in a position to conduct that.
I do have copies of the application and
Well, Thanks for waiting while we.
Not all the
Oh,
Staples, the printer started to get really hot, so all your work are moved in there.
Good morning, my name is Mia Chalakis, I'm the attorney for the applicant. This is Sean Donnelly, who's the project coordinator for the applicant.
Renderings and some of the
We didn't know about your capabilities for electronics, so we brought some hard copies for you guys to take a look at while you're there.
Okay.
These were also submitted with the application. First off, I'd just like to say thank you, we appreciate the opportunity to be with you guys today. We also appreciate the, IDA consideration of our application. As previously stated, this property is located at 15-25 Fourth Street, or commonly known as the former Uncle Sam's parking garage. We acquired the parcel back in December of 2024. While we were going through the, title review process, we noted a few things, including, the fact that the CDTA owned a few parcels, odd-shaped parcels on the southern part of the property adjacent to Fulton, and then a parcel about 26 feet in width on the northern side of the parcel, between the parcel and the hotel. So we went through and we acquired the parcels from the CDTA. They also had easements that were contained in the former parking garage that were still in effect, so we terminated those as well. In addition, we found that the city and the state entered into an urban renewal agreement back in the 70s, and we had that terminated as well in order for us to be able to move forward with the project. We then brought it to the planning board and zoning board. We just recently received full approval from the planning board back in February. Zoning board approval was just a few minor setback variances. So the project, again, is a redevelopment project of former parking garage. We're excited to be developing a project in the heart of downtown Troy. The project includes 193 market rate apartments, which includes 135 one-bedroom apartments, 14 studios, 44 two-bedroom apartments. It also includes 236 indoor parking garages, of which 24 will be EV charging. The residential amenities that are include a private fitness center. Private outdoor amenities include 2 pickleball courts, patio, indoor and outdoor bike rental storage, as well as an outdoor kitchen. As this is a project is in fact a mixed-use project, the first floor will also contain what's now being proposed as a coffee shop for the residents as well as for the town, it's open to the public. So in going through the application with your attorney, we've provided all of the total construction schedule, which includes our land acquisition cost to date. Our building construction is an estimate, of course, at this point. It also includes, so that we currently have is $60 million in change. Utilities, roads, and appurtenant costs total approximately $2.8 million. The machinery and equipment totals approximately $1.4 million. Soft costs of construction is approximately $1 million. The bond cost issue is approximately $450,000. Construction loan fees total approximately $4 million, and we have sewer work to be done that totals approximately total project cost of over $74 million. Obviously, we really need IDA support of this project in order to stay competitive, specifically with other of the apartment facilities within the city, and also with the constant increase in construction costs, especially now this project definitely is in need of IDA support in order for us to move forward. We welcome any other questions that you guys may have in connection with this. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. We're looking to create over 110 construction jobs over a 2-year period of time, and then we're looking to provide approximately 16 permanent jobs, which will include leasing jobs, as well as the employees for the coffee shop, and maintenance techs. And that's all provided in the application as well. So we're, again, yes, I'm sorry, so.
No, just to, could you recap the parking versus the number of apartments?
The parking versus the number of apartments.
Yes.
So there's 236 parking in total, which permits every person with a in a bedroom to have a park.
Great, thank you.
So again, we're excited about the project. We know that it's going to bring, it's going to bring a walkable community, additional community to the city. It's going to, assist in hopefully bringing in new businesses to accommodate that, as well as supporting the existing business.
Can you remind me, you said for the residential apartments, it's going to be market rate apartments,
That is correct.
and for the recreational facilities, that's for the tenants?
That's for the residents.
Right.
But the coffee shop will be open to the public.
Okay, thank you.
Have you made changes to your initial budget since you went to planning? Because you're talking about the rising costs, but have you modified what your, number of units is?
I don't know if we ever discussed, I don't know if you were at the meeting, but I was not, we ever discussed the actual overall construction cost. We're still seeking additional bids, so we're still in the bidding process, so that's why those costs are estimated.
So I was just trying to, understand where the costs were coming from, if, and whether or not those changes have reflected your plan.
The $60 million reflects what we currently believe to be the increase, as well as, FF&E.
Do you have a pro forma?
Do we have a pro forma? I do not have it with me, because again, we provided the information that the application asked for. We're still working out the kinks, obviously, but the numbers we've given were the most accurate numbers that we have to date.
That'll be step 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
what I want
yes,
to see.
we're gonna get a worksheet,
Yeah.
we're gonna get a very detailed worksheet, assuming you guys move forward with this, we're gonna get a detailed worksheet, which is,
Okay.
obviously.
Any other questions?
The comment that you made about purchasing the property that was CDTA's, is that in here anywhere, or is that just something that?
It's in the land acquisition number.
Okay.
Well, it was still owned by Bryce. The CDTA built a couple of bus shelters and access points at the corners of the garage.
Mm-hmm.
And then in doing so, I'm not sure the exact full story, it was about 10 years ago. CDTA was actually forced to use eminent domain to kind of carve out little corners of the former garage site for whatever reason. And since that property, the garage site itself, post demolition, was acquired by Bryce's former lender, the pieces and parts that CDTA had really were no longer relevant. So the developer and his team have put Humpty Dumpty back together again, I guess.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. I mean, it didn't make a lot of sense. To be honest with you, they were very strangely configured, odd parcels on Fulton, and then the one on the northern end looked like a parcel, but the other ones were just oddly shaped.
Not significant to the.
Well, they're significant because they're inside the proposed building.
Right,
But otherwise, no.
Small corner pieces that are now being put back together with the assemblage. Makes a little bit more sense.
Wasn't that when they were trying to reverse the flow of the bus traffic?
What's the, interest rate on the construction loan?
We're still working on that as well. And right now, things are a little dicey. So we're hoping to start the process, mid-summer, and hopefully things will start to regulate a little bit.
How long are you looking at? 2 years?
18 months.
18 months, okay.
Sorry, when you say start the process for what?
Construction.
It's a weird time to bank a loan.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
All right, any more questions from the board? Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed?
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys
We'll
very
follow
much.
up real quick.
Yeah, that's all.
Take care.
All right, that is all of our new business. All right, moving on to old business. We have an authorizing resolution, carried over from our last meeting about Catholic High, the release of the surplus land. Justin, do you have anything you want to speak to here?
No, just as an update, the board's had more time to review the request from the Redburn companies regarding what primarily is being undertaken is the release of some of the acreage of vacant land. So a separate development arm of Redburn can undertake the construction of standalone affordable townhomes to be constructed across the street and adjacent to the gym facility, if you're familiar. I think we have Lynn or someone on. I don't know back of my head if you have an update or anything. I think a closing is scheduled the next week or so.
Sure. So, we're literally just asking for the field to be released from our initial pilot, something that our lender is requiring of us in order to proceed. We're super excited about this project, building townhomes, through a program with HRC that makes them affordable to first-time home buyers. I think it's great for the neighborhood. We're just asking for this technicality to get cleared up. Doesn't at all affect what we are, paying through our original pilot. Yeah, we're just excited to get going with the project.
Any questions or comments from the board?
These are fully taxable parcels.
They will be,
They will
yeah.
be.
Yeah, which is the good news is the more ratables are coming out of it.
I heard you're requiring home buyer counseling for the...
Correct. The program through HRC outlines everything that we have to do, but, so we're working with TRIP right now, I believe. There's a whole, marketing program we have to go through to make sure we're reaching buyers that will be eligible for these homes. And then they have to take, first-time home buyer classes as well.
The current footprint is kind of small on that parcel. You're looking at future development as well?
Potentially. This is something new for us. We've never, rarely do we do ground up. We usually are historic rehab folks. So we'll see how this goes, and then that would be approached as a completely separate project if we decided to add more, obviously with approval from the city.
Other questions?
In the attachments we received, there is discussion of a memorandum of understanding about the sewer overflow volume. Can you speak to that a little bit?
I do not honestly understand the details of that. We have been back and forth with the city multiple times in order to come to a resolution with what's required from a sewer standpoint. All I know is that we have come to that resolution, I believe, but I can't speak to exactly what the detail of that is.
Okay. Maybe a question for Art.
Any other questions? All right, do we have a motion? Or do you have- sorry.
I do have one more question. So if this passes today, then it will be taxable for the May assessment, May tax roll?
When the property comes out, when we go into a pilot, it's lagged because of tax status date and it's forward-looking. Going out of a pilot's immediate, so those parcels, when they're released from the Tri-IDA pilot, will go on the tax rolls immediately as taxable. And then, once the properties are constructed, they'll have an assessment value as it's privately owned.
Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
No one is opposed.
First.
First, second.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Happy Friday.
Good seeing you. Take care.
All right, last old business is the Victoria Stores proposal.
I can start talking about that.
Yeah, do you want to?
The rest of the meeting's yours, man.
Okay, so this proposal is something that the board is familiar with, I believe. I think there's been a couple presentations, one from Victoria herself. It's an idea, I guess, that was promoted by the former chair, and I felt that now that I'm in this role, I should familiarize myself with the proposal. It's a potentially important contribution to the way things get done, and to opportunity to kind of update some policies and procedures of the IDA. So I took the opportunity to look closely at the proposal. I talked with Victoria personally about the proposal, and in talking with Albert, I felt it would be a good idea to put a chart together, which you all have, that kind of breaks down what exactly the proposal is, and try to make it organize it so it's a little simpler to understand. And so, if you bear with me, I'll just kind of walk through this, and then it'll be up to the board to decide whether or not this is something we want to move forward with. So the first part is that her proposal is just policy assistance to the IDA to help us update our uniform tax exempt policy, which should be updated, in my opinion. And along with that would be updating the project evaluation policy, and potentially a community benefits policy, which is, basically when we do a project, there's a possibility that we can add to any agreement community benefit payments from the applicant, depending on the nature of the project, what the impacts are, et cetera. So those are all things that, if we were to decide to go with Stores Associates, they would help us in developing those policies, and it's a service to the IDA directly, so there are IDA costs, one-time costs that the IDA would need to expend. Similarly with the application, it looks like from the last time I was here, there's been some changes made to the application, but I haven't had a chance to look closely to see, whether or not we need to consider further refinements, if you will, to that application, and that's something that Stores Associates could help us with all their knowledge and experience working with IDAs across the state. The next part is, back on the application though. One of the other things that I've been working on is the planning department. It was before I left previously as commissioner. The planning department was looking at updating their process and for accepting applications, for staff collaboration with the board, and also collaboration with applicants. So the planning department had put out an RFP to get a software development company to build a platform that's specifically designed for, municipal application processes and municipal boards, sort of, workflows, work products, and collaboration among, again, staff, board members, and applicants. The planning department has, those proposals have been submitted to the planning department. I have been participating in the review of those proposals with the idea that whatever the city decides to go with in terms of a software company in developing that platform, that it'll be something that has potential for the IDA as well. And I just bring that up in the context of application because these platforms allow for the application to be online, for all, project files related to any particular project to all be worked on within the platform. So this would be an opportune time to look closely at the application to see how it could be refined and ultimately built into whatever platform gets developed. The next section is about doing the, sort of the more traditional financial analysis of projects and the cost-benefit analysis, and again, our bread and butter evaluation of projects and determining, how much of benefits we want to provide to any particular project. Historically, when we have done these kind of evaluations, it's been kind of fairly straightforward, simple analysis that just looks at, the investments that are being made, what jobs, the wages. We look at those direct impacts, and we look at how much the pilot benefits are going to be, along with the other sales tax benefits. And we just kind of gauge, is there enough investment in jobs and wages to support whatever level of benefits we want to get. What is being proposed here is a much more robust kind of analysis for projects, and it's something that I can speak to with some authority because all of the projects that we used to do at Empire State Development did economic modeling as part of their evaluation of these projects. That's what's being proposed here, and these models look at well beyond the direct investment jobs and look at the indirect jobs and sort of the multiplier benefits of any particular project. And the real value of this is that it can really give a more refined look at the actual revenues, tax revenues that can be generated by a project when you add in all those multiplier impacts and compare that to the tax costs, if you will, because we're giving up revenue. And so it's more refined, it's more robust, and it has the potential to just allow us to make more informed decisions. And these are costs that they don't have to be incurred for every project. They could be, we could decide, given the nature of the project, whether it's something that we really feel like we need to go that extra mile. And the way that this proposal would work, Justin, help me out here if I stray, but each time that we would engage Victoria, there would be at our request. So it's not like automatic that every project that comes through here, we have to do the full-blown analysis. We could decide that the more traditional analysis is good enough, but if the project is big enough, if it has potentially significant enough impacts, we may want to go that extra mile. So that's what those costs represent. And again, these are costs, again, Justin helped me out here, that these are costs that could be billed separately to the project, and would not be costs incurred by the IDA. Is that correct?
That's right.
And the rest of it is, there are, if we decided that we wanted to approve Store Associates, if there were other analyses, special projects that we wanted done, she'd be available to do that as cost basis. So, any questions?
Were we to approve Store's proposal, would that be in effect in time to evaluate the Rodball proposal?
That was my question.
I would think that if the board approved this, it would be, we could have Store Associates look at the Bella Vita one, the one we just,
Yeah, it's really just, they're on standby with an à la carte menu. We decide what we want to, when and if we want to have her assistance and give her a notice to proceed. And I think one of the more logical opportunities might be this application that we have in front of us. It's a $75 million project in the heart of downtown.
And we haven't
Probably take a run through it.
We haven't foreclosed on that by accepting the initial proposal earlier in this meeting.
No, not at all.
Tremendous.
We'll decide how we want to analyze that application, and this might be one of the tools we use.
And that's part of the application modification, that you can add a question, for example, new development, and, here are the fees, so they're essentially changing the fee structure when someone is submitting, so they know.
Right, yeah, we can add that. Right now, the application does fully indemnify the IDA for any cost it incurs in weighing the application. Usually it's legal, and any other, staffing costs sometimes are put in there. Based upon that application, the IDA's administrative fee is around $555,000. So it's not like we're losing money to process that pilot. That's not to say that that's the most important part, but doing your due diligence and weighing that application and crafting a pilot that makes sense. Victoria would, in essence, on that a la carte list, would be bringing all the information that Albert is typically asking for, the optics on profit and loss and balance sheet and pro formas. Her job is to really look at that and generate a report that shows that there's a decent ROI on the project that the IDA is helping facilitate. Yes or no? Right?
I just think these fees are enormous, and some of the information, appraisal costs $5,000. I just I looked at this and my eyes almost popped out of my head. And I looked at one of her reports this morning, and a lot of the information and part of this $13,000 you can get from the appraisal. I think every time we do one of these deals, we need to get appraisals. Since I've been on this board, I've been saying that. And
use the assessor for guidance, because she ultimately is the determination of value.
The appraisal has a market analysis. It just gives a lot of information. She has in her report, but they'll be paying for it twice. The applicant, they got to pay for an appraisal, and then they'll be paying again for her analyzing it. I don't mind signing off on this. I just think we need to rein in what she's doing. Be aware of exactly what.
You can adjust the scope and to a certain extent put a not to exceed on it, but again, on that particular project, just, I'm not making up numbers, I'm just guessing. If it's a $75 million project, probably $15 to $20 million in IDA assistance. So if they pay 10 grand to get an analysis in front of you, I think they should expect to maybe absorb that analysis, so. Again, in fairness, I can appreciate your sensitivity to costs, but.
I mean, I come from a background that's highly regulated. I saw this and I was just like, wow. I mean, and I read through just flipped through her report, I mean, there's a lot of stuff I used to look at when I was underwriting. I mean, and then the cost-benefit analysis, I saw she said it was hypothetical. I mean, so she's just throwing numbers at us that may and may not happen. I don't know. We used to do annual reports on everything we did too, so we used to ask for financials every year on every project that we financed. And, I mean, you need to keep an eye on these guys. It's like some of these employment numbers, they're not working out. I mean, you throw stuff in a file and that's it, you don't look at it again.
Well, we did do a jobs report.
Well, I'm just saying, we were required to look at especially projects with big numbers every year.
If we were to do this for the upcoming big project, so maybe it would get the board situated in a way that to know what kind of questions to ask in the future, that maybe we're not as experienced.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, your brain goes right there, but we really just get handed a lot of things that.
Right. Yeah, in terms of natural flow right now, we've accepted that application. And in the normal course, in Randy's, practice and experience and history here, we start talking about what's the pilot going to look like. And they may ask for something that is a little bit more beyond our comfort level, and we try to right-size it. And there's a lot of back and forth involved, and we've gotten better with getting the involvement of board members that are interested, Albert certainly. At this point now, I think it's logical that as Randy starts to dive into that conversation and manage that, Victoria could be introduced into the process, and you can adjust the scope of her work and the deliverable.
all right, yeah.
Right-size the fee, and then,
I'm not knocking it, I just we need to just keep her reined in.
yeah, she could be she'll be reporting to Randy primarily and to that committee, whoever will structure it, so.
Yeah,
You can
okay.
stay in front of that too. Obviously, you're a volunteer, and whatever time you have to dedicate to it.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as she started talking about this project, it's like, where's the pro forma? That's the first thing I wanted to see, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, I talked specifically with Victoria about this, about doing that more, again, robust analysis. And to be clear, it's different than an appraisal. I mean, these economic
Yeah, I saw some
models.
numbers in there, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
but some of it comes from, talking to the developer, and it's like, yeah, it's just duplicating some information that you can get from an appraisal. Debt service coverage, yeah, I mean, I saw pro forma stuff, yeah.
Randy, the way you presented the policy assistance to the IDA, that 10,000, that has nothing to do with a particular project, though. That's just her helping us.
That's helping us with housekeeping.
Right.
So is that something we'd have to approve separately as let's do that?
If you want to start that conversation of thinking about that policy, you'd give her a notice to proceed at that time, if you want the help.
Is that for all three policies, or just one? Well, 10,000 each.
I thought it was
That was their base cost for 40 hours, basically.
Oh, okay,
And anything over 40 hours is
okay.
billed out.
I mean, it's a work in progress, so might as well begin the process.
Is it open-ended? We can end the agreement as easy as we can start it?
well, we were talking about like a term, like a master services, like a,
Well,
like a 1 year or 2 year or whatever, as needed, up to whatever date.
well, I was asking Randy the other day, each project has an engagement letter, so
Right.
we initiate the process by signing off on what she was going to do for us, each project. So it's not like a long-term contract based on each project, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So again, it's not like you approve it and then every time a project comes through here, she goes to work.
Yes.
We first
She has
have to decide.
You have to sign off on the
Yeah.
engagement, like, yeah.
Right.
We might get a $4 or $5 million conversion project or something that really doesn't require that level of analysis, but something of, large scale, we wanna probably get into the economics of it.
But she has to sign off on each and every project she does for us. That's what I'm,
Right, yeah. She doesn't
Yeah.
start until Randy gives her a notice
yeah,
to proceed.
okay, yeah.
So what the board's approving is giving Randy the ability to do that.
Yeah, if she's on call, and I don't think he's gonna proceed with her until we're at this stage with an initial resolution. Do we wanna dig into this or not? And then
Yeah, okay.
he'll have your comfort level.
So what do we do now?
Can we have to make a motion?
Just a motion to authorize her engagement on call as needed, is really the question.
And then, okay.
Do we have a motion?
Oh.
Do you have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Right. Cool. All right, that's all our old business. On to
What about the, so for,
Our first report is the statement of financial position. As of March 31st, we had total assets of $2,100,667. $1,262,763 of that in cash. We had total liabilities of $824,233, which left the fund balance of $1,286,424. The only change in the statement of financial position is that the accounts receivable and the relevant for pilot billing. And lastly, we have the statement of activities. For the month of March, we ran a surplus of $4,648, with our most significant source of revenue being our monthly interest earnings, and our largest expenses were.
Have you received any of these receivables?
Yeah, so currently we have only 5 projects still outstanding.
First Columbia's paid?
Columbia is paid,
Okay.
so currently it's 2920, Castillo, Dinosaur, the 2 casino projects, and I'm working on the 5th.
I think the fifth one, they said they were expensive. I've been reaching out to all of them, so I've been in contact with them, trying.
Are any of them close to 60 days?
Dinosaur, and the casino project, 2920.
Are you now accruing the penalties and the interest that are due with those and rebilling those?
Yes.
At some point, if they're near 60, they need to get a notice of default. Then, in most cases, if there's a project mortgage involved, the lender gets copies of all notices from you. They need to confirm who the bank is, and 9 times out of 10, if you copy the bank on a notice of a late pilot payment, it gets made really fast.
Okay.
So in each particular case, if you could send me the trip report, or send Janae and I the trip report and copy Randy, I can confirm based upon when we closed who the bank was. Usually there's an address and a phone number or whatever. You add that to the mailing, and things tend to rectify themselves a little bit quicker.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Got a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, no opposed. Do we have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to CRC, or,
I think the
Yeah, I forgot to bring that up.
There's also a document attachment, look at it from the IDA meeting. All right,
Take one, pass it.
You got it good.
thank you.
Thank you. I lost it.
All right, I will get us going. All right, we'll start with approval of minutes from the March 20th board meeting. Do we have a motion? Yeah, it's coming. Do we have a motion to approve last meeting's minutes?
Motion.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed tonight. All right, I will move us on to new business. We have a meeting resolution.
The CRC packet with the agenda at the top. Very similar to the last one. Some nuances here. The CRC is not bound, like the IDA, to a specific appointment of the chair. The CRC board is different from the IDA in as much as it's a local development corporation whose sole member is the city. For ease of use and to make this process a little bit more practical, the IDA board serves as the board of directors for the CRC. So there isn't a legal need for your chairperson of the CRC to be the chair of the IDA, but that's been done as a matter of practice, just because it makes sense. So I just wanted to point that out as you're considering the officer election section of this and the staffing section of this. There's an important note I want to make about Randy as well, to close the loop, because we are, within the next 3 weeks, going to close a transaction with RPI. Good news. We did a financial report that showed us kind of burning down the cash position of CRC. Approximately $200,000 more will be coming in by the end of May for that RPI bond transaction, which is good news. But I just wanted to point out, for purposes of the chair, vice chair, treasurer, and secretary, you're free to fill those seats without leaving the chair astray right now if you choose to do so, or you can leave it open. It's completely up to you. Other than that, I'll let you talk about the audit and any of the committees or the positions as you see fit before making the motion.
All right, what do we want to do? Keep them the same? Make any changes?
If the new IDA chair is seated, they'll have a seat here, and they could be ratified as the chair of this board as well, to keep that continuity. It probably makes sense.
All right, so me as vice chair, you as treasurer, Albert, Stephanie as secretary. All right. Let's talk about any committees.
My revised agreement.
Right, yeah. Just as a quick update, a lot of this was Jeff's resignation. We're working through the process, and as you're familiar, the IDA engaged Randy as deputy executive director to fill the role that he's in right now. It was presumed that he would be helping along with the CRC as well, because they're kind of brother and sister. The issue of lacking a chair, we had all these draft documents going around for Jeff's signature, and that's not going to happen. So for ease of use, we are just pointing out that, pardon me, this meeting will ratify Randy as the executive director and chief executive officer of the CRC. So we have a signatory not only on the bond transaction, but for just checking account and general operations. So that's being noted here as well. The IDA is paying for all of those costs for staffing. He's just serving in this role as well.
That?
Yeah, on the staffing side, it's blank.
Oh,
Next page,
okay.
yes.
Yeah. Any questions or comments on that?
Pardon me.
All right, do we have a motion?
So move.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right, on to guidelines for grant funding.
Okay, that's me. So, last week, Stephanie, Mike, Justin, and I, met to talk about the agenda for this week. And as part of that discussion, we started talking about the grants that typically come into the CRC, and discussion about how we needed to do sort of a best practice when it comes to reviewing these grants, evaluating the grants, and ultimately deciding on the grants. As part of that discussion, we felt that establishing some guidelines would be a good idea. And we had kind of set a, fall date for getting that done, but, again, based upon my experience in the past, I felt we could get this done sooner. So I took the opportunity following that meeting to put together a draft outline of what the guidelines would look like, and just started doing a brain dump on, the different, what's an eligible applicant, what are our application requirements, do we have matching requirements, what kind of performance measures we might want for these applications. And my intention was really to just get the discussion started and not having to start from a blank sheet of paper. So I filled in that blank sheet of paper. And there's a lot of still key policy questions that need to be decided with respect to any guidelines such as these. And so my hope was that we could have a committee sit down and flesh these out further and get something more in draft final order for the full board to consider. And I don't know who would be on that committee.
I'm a grants writer by trade and would love to be on that.
Oh, okay.
This is really helpful. I just have one thing to say about it, and it could just be my opinion. I find with the CRC, we're always, we're having these requests come in front of us continually, and it's always like the pressure is on us then, because there's always a deadline. And the application process has deadlines, and this is just a draft suggestion, which had me thinking on what makes it so challenging, recording-wise too, keeping the notes and the minutes and the work that goes behind some of these meetings. Would there be a way to not make the deadline of the application so important, but the approval date important, that we would be approving them 3 times a year? Because having a deadline of this, if you don't make the deadline by the end of March, well, you can just submit it the next week anyway, because then we're just going to be here the next month, and so it doesn't really help us with our thinking of these projects and putting them in some cohesive way of accepting them. Just my...
No, I mean, I get...
Does that make sense? Okay.
But it sort of comes down to some, also like, do we want to look at applications as sort of bulk and consider them all in relationship to one another? Normally when you're dealing with these kind of programs, there's a budget and applications come in and they're basically competing against each other. That's not necessarily, I mean, there is only a certain pot of money that we have, but it doesn't seem like it's ever been, okay, this application comes in, it's like, well, let's wait and get a group of applications and then decide, how much you know, we want to budget to these and consider them, again, in a competitive process, or just consider each one separately on its own?
I mean, someone remind me if I'm wrong, but we had one come in front of us last year that we had denied, not really based on its merits, but because we had just approved a bunch of others. So like, I would see value in doing them comparatively,
Yeah.
right? Like,
And I've been around here long enough. A lot of these meetings are contingent on what's on the agenda. Usually we have a robust agenda for the IDA, and that will bring people to the table. But you hate to have a situation where, we're just coming to have a meeting on this just to approve one grant for $5,000. It could be done a little more in respect for everybody else who has outside work to do, to be able to have them put together and presented in a way that it was better for people who have important time constraints. Not to belittle any of the requests, they're all valid, I'm just,
Let's make note of that, and that'll be, we'll try to work that into whatever set of guidelines.
Sounds like we're talking about eligibility scoring, right?
Eligibility scoring, you said?
Yeah, like when an applicant comes in wanting some CRC funding for, you know, for whatever their particular event is, they have to present, you know, a checklist of things that meet the criteria for us to give them the grant, right?
and I think Randy's hope is to get it to have it a little bit more,
Formalized.
yeah.
so, do we need to have a subcommittee meeting on this? How do we want that? Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, so,
Yeah.
you want to be on it? Who else? I think 3 people, right?
Sure.
So, does anyone else? Stephanie?
Sure. That would be great, thank you.
Sorry, I just fallen full deep, yeah. All right, and now, I guess I'll put 2 for the 3 of us. Do we need to make a motion?
Yeah, if you just want to support the establishment of a committee to look through the outline of the policy proposals that Randy put together.
All right, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Cool.
So as a committee, you're gonna go through all the applications and then present it to the,
Oh, I thought we were just gonna create the policy.
Yeah, I thought.
oh, you,
Policy
Yeah.
development piece.
Yeah, I
oh,
mean,
okay.
you know, ideally, these guidelines would be in place before we review applications, but
Okay.
we've got work to do, so.
Okay, all right.
Now we just gotta kind of do things the way we normally do them.
Sorry, I have a new meeting that I can get, so I'm going to.
All right, let's get us going. All right, we have a Tech Valley City of Gravity funding request. Oh, perfect.
And Dan, here.
Perfect. Dan, if you want to speak, floor is yours.
So thank you very much for taking your time today. I'm Dan Falkenstrom. I'm the director of the Tech Valley Center of Gravity. We are the Makerspace Manufacturing Incubator and STEAM Education Center at the corner of 3rd and Broadway in Quackenbush. So we provide, we're a nonprofit that provides access to fabrication equipment, workspace, and a community of creatives that build things, as well as the education on how to build things, how to build and start businesses. We established our community access fund several years ago to help people afford access into the makerspace that otherwise wouldn't be able to afford membership. So kind of split that into 2 buckets. One of those is our Pay What You Can program, which is focused on LMI individuals, people who might have laid off from their jobs and need access to the makerspace to network, to grow their skills. Second bucket of that is our small business support program. And that's what we're asking for support for today. So historically, it's been a rolling application for startups that are looking to access workspace to work on prototypes, to work on transitioning from prototype to manufacturing, and to help build their business. We're evolving that a little bit into, instead of it being just a rolling application, to more of a cohort accelerator. So with this funding, we're going to have an application for 4 entrepreneurs, and that would be eligible to receive a 90% discount on membership dues for up to 2 employees, as well as space rental for their business. And then they'll be able to, co-located, they'll be able to work together over the year as they evolve their business. And they will be part of our incubator program, which provides access to mentors, help from TVCOG staff in both business support and prototype developments. And we've seen really good response from this in the past couple of years. So historically, the past 3 years, it's been supported through our ARPA funding. We've supported 22 startups, as well as 44 individuals. In the past year, 2025, we added 9 jobs through all the small businesses that we supported. And we see this as the next evolution of the program. And we'll be getting other sponsors to grow the Community Access Fund to bring more people into the space, build more connections, and grow the startup community in the plan.
Any questions?
Do you have certain applicants poised for this?
There are a couple new members that would be eligible. We're going to prioritize people that have not been members of the COG before, but we'll consider people that are new COG members. One of them, for example, is a robotics company out of RIT. They're building something that will help material handling in warehouses and other assembly lines to help with repetitive motion injuries. They're looking for a space to do their initial electrical prototyping to build their first robot.
So that would be a good candidate for them.
Be a good candidate. Because they don't have any funding at the moment, they're going after grants, they're going after seed funding, business line competition, that sort of thing, which will help get them.
And then the number that you're requesting, is that kind of, did you just calculate that based on what the cost would, the membership for these 4 businesses, accepted businesses would be to cover their expenses?
Exactly, to cover the membership and space rent. So, what we charge.
Any other questions?
I graduated from RIT, so.
That's why these presentations are good.
Yeah. I was surprised when you said that.
Perfect. Any discussion from the board, or do you want to make a motion?
Make a motion.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, no opposed, and Greg left. Perfect, thank you.
Chair, one more.
Yes,
I
have it written down.
I have an addition to the agenda.
Go for it, Sue.
Thanks. I guess this is sort of an annual ask. The city council sponsors neighborhood improvement project. It's a program that gives grants of no more than $1,500 to neighborhood groups, neighbors. It doesn't have to be an organized group, but it's based on a project that will improve the neighborhood, the city. This council budgets $10,000. This year, we have applicants, and it's over close to $15,000 in applicants. And so, as we've done in the past, asking if the CRC would supplement that with a grant. So we would be asking for $5,000 this year to, if you're interested in some of the projects that have been accomplished over the years, I can share that with you. Our applicants were down a bit this year. We had 19,000 last year. Not sure why, just the nature of the beast, I guess. But it's important for us to move forward with this because a lot of these projects are sort of seasonal. A lot of the beautification projects, folks want to get the plants in the ground. So the council is in the process of, there's a subcommittee that's reviewing the application. And, then we'll be awarded, let's see, we have a finance meeting April 23rd, and the first Thursday in May would be the approval date. Any questions?
Do you have an update? I remember we talked about in previous years, like, applications that were submitted and then some, you know, weren't started, you know, or some, you know, weren't completed. Do we kind of have an idea of where we are from, you know, previous?
I don't. As you're aware, we had a change in clerk, and so, the clerk, the city clerk kind of does the administrative work on this, and, so I don't have a recap. We'll work on that for next year. If they didn't start the project, though, they didn't get the money. It's based on completion of the project.
So they're gonna show receipts.
I'm sorry?
They have to show receipts, right?
They do, they show receipts,
Picture.
right?
And same
Purchasing.
restrictions as last year, like, can't buy tools, it has to be.
Right, yeah, the same, procurement, requirements, certain approved vendors, that kind of thing.
Any other questions?
Can I keep these?
Sure, okay, yeah.
All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do we have a second? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I look at these?
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you
you
very
can look
much.
at them first.
Before you keep.
All right, I do not believe we have any old business. Financial, Matt, take it away.
Our first quarter financial position. As of March 31st, we had total assets of $5,406, with $70,406 of that in cash. We had no liabilities, which left us with a fund balance of $285,406. There was no change in financial position. And our last report is the payment activity. For the month of March, we ran a deficit of $313. Our only source of revenue was our monthly returning, and our largest expenses was in the accounting fees.
Do you have a motion? For financials.
I move.
All right, second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
So, Justin, you said, the RPI thing will bring in 200,000
Roughly 200.
next month? Okay.
I think, either mid or late May.
Yeah. And this working capital loan probably won't be closed, paid off until like next year, probably.
Mid 27, I think,
Yeah.
I think the note's May 15th to 27.
Yeah, okay.
The LDC on May 1st is gonna consider an LOI for the sale of that property. First closing by the end of 27 for $1 million, so, it's coming. So
Okay.
It's taking a lot of time, so. The property's almost cleaned up. I don't know if anybody's driven down there, but it's a lot different than it used to be down in South Troy.
The motion to adjourn?
Motion?
Second?
I'll second.